Hello and welcome to Sporting Gibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
I'm Jack Huffman.
Just going to say, I think I look alright in yellow.
I know, yeah, yellow. I would try and show you the yellow socks I've got on, but as I've got a bad back, it's probably not the best idea.
I wouldn't say so. But so if anybody's wondering, we are wearing yellow for mental health awareness.
Yeah, all for school, so important message they're getting out, and everybody's been in yellow at school today.
Yeah, it's been a bright
Very
day.
bright.
I was going to say, half of us look like the Brazilian football team, only in colour format.
Colour format.
Definitely not in body shape
Or ability.
Yeah. Or even tan lines.
No.
But anyway, on with today's show, we are going to be talking football, NBA, IPL. Ooh, it's getting interesting.
Yeah, I know.
More for some teams than others. Our Fantasy Football League winner this week, talk about that. I actually got a message this morning off Larkin.
Did you?
Yeah, I just texted him to, this is the best one, just text him to say, you've got your voucher for your winning position, come and let me know when you can look for it. So I get a voice note back saying that he's currently studying international form this weekend, ready for the weekend after, and he's also, inside info from the Larkin, is he's studying COVID hotspots around the country because he believes that may have an impact.
Oh, takes it seriously, the old boy, doesn't he?
Yeah, but we are going to start.
He had a poor week though, to be fair, sorry to interrupt.
Oh.
He had a poor week, didn't he?
Oh, well, to be fair, I haven't looked. I've given up already. I'm 4 weeks in.
But yeah, fair play, Lars. You keep going, pal.
Yeah, but we're going to start with a new feature. Okay, so Jack, this is called Fact or Fiction.
And I have actually no idea what this is about. You just suggested fact or fiction.
So don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Okay, I'm just going to tilt that to side and make sure I keep in line. Okay, right. So I've got a few comments or statements, and you're going to tell me if you think they are fact or fiction. Okay, so we're going to start the first one.
Sport, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So it's all football related. This
Football,
is all football related. We will branch out to other sports.
Okay, football this week then.
Okay, so I think I'd pick three out for you just to tease you in nicely. Yeah, there's three. Okay, so the first one, second leg home advantage. Does it exist?
Second leg home advantage, is it? Oh, I don't think he does. I don't think he does. No, it doesn't exist.
So home advantage is a well-established phenomenon across many sports, including football. It's also statistically and significantly true that in two-legged cup ties, the overall advantage falls to the team playing at home in the second leg. And this is better because I went into the probability. Probability of winning is 53.77%.
That's high, isn't it? Two horse race.
Yeah.
I bet 3.
You get 3.77% advantage, but it is an advantage.
It is, yeah.
Right, so that was the first one. It was.
It was.
Okay. Fact or fiction, Jack? Teams run a greater risk of conceding just after scoring.
Oh, well, I would say yes, that's true. Because there's a lot of, you look at me like that, I'm talking out. I would say that's true because we see that happens a lot. We see that a lot, don't we? Teams are the most vulnerable when they've scored.
Okay, so this is the research between it or behind it is common gesture of a manager pointing urgently to his head just after the team has scored appears to be convey a particular need for cool and focus at such times. But a study of 127 Premiership matches finishing 1-1 between 1994 and 1996 showed teams were no more likely to concede just after scoring than at any other time. The time remaining after the first goal. No, the time remaining after each first goal in each of those games was divided for. If the myth were true, more equalisers should be observed in the first quartile. In fact, the period produced the fewest goals.
There you go. So, right, I've done useless on
Yeah,
this.
so let's hope just out of pure luck you get this last one right. Goalkeepers dive too often for penalties as opposed to standing still.
God, that's a tough one. That.
So, are they more likely to
save if they stand still
than to dive?
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of keepers, don't look like they make much of an effort to some penalties sometimes. But knowing how I've gone on it, so my gut says,
I'm trying not to.
I think they should stand still.
So you're saying that fact goalkeepers dive too often?
Yes, fact. I'm going to go. That's true.
At least you got one right, Jay.
Yes, get in there.
Right, okay, so two German economists, Wolfgang, I can't even pronounce his thing, and Axel, suggested that the very nature of the penalty kick altered when Neskens became the first player in a truly high-profile match for the Netherlands in 1974 World Cup final to shoot down the middle as opposed to one side, and he scored. This clever innovation was then successfully replicated by Czechoslovakia, Panenka, in the final of the 1976 European Championship. Basically, in a nutshell, in a study of 286 spot kicks, they observed that keepers who stayed in the middle saved a much higher proportion of kicks aimed at the middle compared to keepers making dives for play shots.
You see, I think that it went through a period, didn't it, where everybody went down the middle.
Yeah.
Now I think, looking on the face of it, I would say it's gone back to people trying to hit corners.
Yeah, but it then says, to simplify again, numerous studies suggest an action bias in goalkeepers that would rather move and fail to save than stay put and fail. Even knowing that staying put might be a better strategy.
Perception.
It is very much a perception. So I think it was showed that kicking on average penalties has a success rate of 81% in comparison to 70% shooting from the corners. Shooting for the right corner, 76% shooting for the left corner.
Wow.
But then if keepers go stay down the middle.
And of course now, you would argue it's really difficult to save a penalty, wouldn't you, now, because they can't, not that they've ever been able to come off the line technically, but they can't come off the line now. You know, players are, it's a bit like the old cricket thing, with bigger bats and smaller boundaries, the technique of players is better. I don't think you see as many penalties saved now, do you? Because even when the keepers go the right way, that a lot of the time, they need to, I think about some of the best penalty takers in the world, and they just hit it so well that you've not got a chance, have you?
Yeah. So interesting things there. So we'll go with.
So I've got 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3 for fact or fiction. So we'll have a look at maybe different sports and maybe a couple more from football next week and see how you get on there. Hopefully, Jack, there'll be a slight improvement.
Yeah, hopefully. Could do better.
That's what he said on all my school reports.
Yeah. Less time on the sports field, more time on the studies. Yeah?
He's more than capable. Just can't be bothered.
Right, football.
Right, big transfers. Okay, so the transfer window is finally closed. But transfer window is finally closed for Premiership clubs. But English Football League transfers are still open and available.
And they can go both ways as well.
Is it
I
both
think
ways?
I'm pretty sure Premiership, because Tottenham are still after this Swansea centre half. So I think loans can still happen both ways. But the EFL window is open for another couple of weeks, is it?
I have no idea. But I think some of the biggest ones are the ones that I particularly caught my eye. I'm just going to go through them here. I noticed that Ryan Brewster's finally made his move to Sheffield United, but then wasn't included in the squad, even though he could have been in time.
Flabbergasting that.
Yeah,
but a good decent move for him. He's going to play as long as he plays, and definitely. Sheffield United crying out for a striker.
Yeah, I tell you what, this one surprised me is Moise Keane going from Everton. So they've got Calvert-Lewin, who's currently on form and banging them in and doing really, really well for them. Who else have they got as backup?
Well, do you know, it's interesting you say that, because I think we're going to discuss it. They've obviously clearly had a decent window, and with people they've had a good start to the season. I'm not going to get carried away with it like lots of other people, but they've done well. But I agree with you there, because I also, a little bit similar with the Walcott move to Southampton, because I know he's not been brilliant at Everton, so if Everton fans start giving me some jip, but all of a sudden now they've not got Keane, again, not done brilliant at Everton, but he is a backup striker, and has gone on loan to Paris Saint-Germain, so it's not like he's gone anywhere rubbish, is it?
No.
They've now got rid of Walcott, so, and bear in mind that in the last game, the Ricardo went off injured. Rodriguez was carrying something. Now I know they've got 10 days now before the next game. So let's say one of those two who plays. They've got a Wobie, haven't they?
Yeah, I think it makes you wonder if they've got somebody coming up through the youth, because Everton do have a decent youth structure. So it just makes you wonder if they've got.
Did you ever work for them, Stu?
I actually did do a little bit with Everton. Yeah, I think I sold all the gear once I left.
He wears it with pride on.
Yeah, I believe Bordy back in Burnley still got my jacket. Scumbag. But yeah, there's a few ones, and I thought that was interesting to say, if he doesn't start continuing to score, or has a bit of a dip in form, or gets injured, worst case scenario is where did they go to next? And I know Moise Keane wasn't scoring goals for Everton, but surely he's a young talent that they would develop. But
yeah,
interesting. Foyth from your guys has gone around to Villarreal.
Yeah, after signing a new contract. So I actually like him. Personally, I think he's a bit better than Sanchez, albeit he's a bit younger. But to be fair to Spurs, obviously we've had a really good window, I think. Got that other striker in. There were lots of the centre half, but they didn't. But what they've also done is keep hold of people. I'm delighted they've kept hold of Dele Alli. I think that's really important. What they have done with Foyth, Sessegnon, and previously with Skip and Parrott is that they've got some good young players there. They've got them on contracts. They've sent them out on loan, and that's good. There's rumour that Clark might go as well. You know, they're from Leeds.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's going to do 2 or 3 weeks with Gareth Bale. And apparently in red hot form for the 23s or the reserves or whatever they call it. So, you know, it looks like we've got a good bunch of youngsters and they're actually treating them correctly, i.e. they're not just letting them play 23 football and sit on the bench every now and again. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Good stuff. Just have a look at Arsenal. They've sent Guendouzi on loan, and they've also sent Torreira out on loan. So 2 players very much like for like. So he's obviously liking the Egyptian lad there, El Nani. So he looks like he's secured along with Xhaka, and they decided these 2 pups can disappear out on loan.
I think what he's doing is certainly Arteta's making that squad's becoming his squad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than an inherited one. He's definitely moving that way.
Yeah.
And their biggest signing was keeping hold of Aubameyang, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think this one is interesting because I'll cover Watford a little bit more, but Delafeu's gone to Udinese on loan. I'm surprised no Premiership clubs have come in for him and gone, we'll take him for a season.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's more than capable. When he was playing, when he had a run in the team, he was more than capable. So you think of a team like Southampton, why would you not? Well, Fulham are crying out for something, aren't they? But I was thinking Southampton, they play some nice football. He could literally create gaps for Ings.
Yeah, he's decent.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But then on the same aspect of Watford is Ismail Sarr is currently being hunted down by both Liverpool and United on the tracks. But I believe United were trying to get him on loan, but Watford want to get some type of
fee for him,
and bring him in that way. So that's one to watch this space with Ismail Sarr. Chris Smalling's finally made his move to Roma.
Yeah. I have to admit, I find it very strange. There's all this narrative around Manchester United and the defending. We'll get onto that in a moment or two. And you know, Bailly not good enough, Maguire struggling, Lindelof not good enough. And you've got a lad there who has won championships with Man United, England caps. You're telling me he's worse than those 3?
Well, it's interesting. It's
like
when they got rid of Evans. Yeah. And then Evans has literally reignited himself, hasn't he?
I just find it bizarre. He's not even been training with the team.
Yeah.
I find that bizarre. Well, we're not going to get onto my opinions on that.
I tell you what is interesting. Cafu's back.
Is he?
Cafu has just signed for Nottingham Forest.
Wow.
From Olympiacos. It's not the Cafu.
Oh.
There's a younger pub called Cafu. Yeah, there's a young pub called Cafu that's gone to Forest alone. I thought when I saw it, I was like, Cafu, Matt. Can't believe Guga didn't tell me about Cafu making his move. So I was like,
Guga. Bit of a name drop there.
Yeah. Oh, it's about, you know, and the other ones that big ones, I think we have to cover Man United. Alexis Telles coming from Porto, the left back. They've got Edison Cavani, and they've got the left winger as well, the young
kid. Yeah.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Oh, that is it.
I don't know what it's called.
Pellistri
or something.
Pellistri, who's only 18, 19, but I believe somebody's telling me that he hasn't come in yet. He will come in at a later date, but they've made the deal.
Oh, okay.
So he's staying where he is for the time being. He'll come in. So he looks like he's one for the future. Cavani, Telles are coming in for immediate starts, which throws the question: Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
How does he feel? Because I would say out of the back 4, he's probably been their best.
Yeah, best of a bad bunch, but yeah.
Their best player.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of moves on a little bit to go on then, Stu. Who's had the best window and who's had the worst window?
I don't know. I think it's very early to say that. So I initially said that I thought Doherty was potentially one of the signings so far, but I don't know who's really hit the ground running. You'd say that Leeds bought Rodri and he's not really got going yet. He was supposed to be their key signing. I think United have got Cavani as a namesake, just for the name.
I think they've had the worst window without any question, and I'm surprised that Fulham have done more business.
Yeah, City have surprised me they've not gone for another striker.
Yeah, completely agree.
Considering they've not got anything, and they need to really look at replacing Aguero long term. They then just keep buying more defenders. It's like they're just flooding the market.
Well, they spent 400 million on defenders since he's there.
It's frightening. So you've got. I was thinking about this the other day. I was sat there going, I wonder if they just went, forget that. Let's spend. We'll offer Liverpool 400 million for Van Dijk. If Liverpool would take it or not, because they've wasted that much money on these unknowns.
Well, it's the same as you talk about number 9. I had a conversation with somebody. Exactly the same. I cannot believe they've not gone for a striker because Aguero is injury prone towards the end of his career. I don't think Jesus is a number 9. I certainly don't think that he does it against the big clubs in the big games. So test to resolve, test Tottenham's resolve, test Levy's resolve. We'll give you 200 million for Harry Kane. Yeah. But they've not done anything like that. Surprised me. But I think you've got to look best window either. You'd argue Everton or Spurs on the face of it.
What about Chelsea?
Chelsea spent a lot of money, but
does that mean it's a bad window?
I don't know because I've not seen enough of the
Chilwell's come in, and I want to see him play once in the league, once in the cup, and he was good in the league. Werner's not going to go in yet.
No.
So wait to see. Havertz, I've seen little bits of brilliance from him.
Yeah.
Ziyech's not even kicked the ball. Thiago Silva fell over.
Yeah. And the keeper, they've only spent 15 million on. I mean, he's not been tested about it, I guess, but he didn't look overly brilliant.
Not considering he's supposed to command.
And he flapped a bit against Tottenham in the League Cup. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I tell you a couple of interesting ones, and this is more for fancy football. Is that Ross Barkley going to Aston Villa? Yeah. He's going to be one that you could think of, and then the other one that's gone through literally 6th of October, so that was a couple of days ago. Loftus-Cheek to Fulham.
Yeah.
Get plenty of game time for him. I just wonder if the lack of ability around him is going to not quite be to where he's expected. So when you pick the ball up as that player and you're looking for that run, it's not going to be there.
But fair play to both of them. I think Loftus-Cheek can play. Spoken Barkley, you're a big fan of Barkley's, and I know you are. But fair play to both of them to say, I actually want to go and play football. Because it'd be a lot easier. Look what, I know Cahill eventually moved, didn't he, to Palace, but Cahill sat on the bench having drinks with me in Garden on 8 here in Dubai before going to watch, not the Spice Girls, what are they called? The other girl band.
All Saints?
No. Girls Aloud.
I don't know All Saints.
Not Girls Aloud. Not Girls Aloud.
Not Girls Aloud.
No,
I have no idea about
the latest ones. Little Mix.
Oh my goodness.
For that teacher conference.
How old are you? You're like 7 or something. I thought only like 7-year-old girls watch that thing.
21 then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at least they've gone out to play some football. Because obviously they've got, as we said last week about Delhi and other people, they've got to have their eye on the Euros in 2021 if it happens.
Definitely. So we'll keep our eye out for anything that happens between the Championship and loan deals. Yeah. I suppose we better move on to this, I think.
Well, I don't think we need to go through all the fixtures, and we only have to look at 2 reviews from last week.
I think we need to look at 3. I think we need to look at the Leeds game. That's important because we did.
Let's start with that one.
We picked out the Leeds game. Yeah. I don't think we really got time to talk about Carabao Cup, have we? No, sorry, Henry. We've not got time.
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah,
we were out. We didn't watch it.
It was just a minor game. I can't remember.
Penalties don't care.
Yeah. Got it. Right. So moving on to league games. So. Leeds City, I thought was an interesting lineup. Again, to test Leeds' resolve. Everybody's coming and running about. Matt Yoder's been giving it big licks, talking about how awesome Leeds are now. And then I just reminded him that Liverpool beat Norwich, Norwich beat City, and Norwich still got rid of Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was my point first week that, because clearly Leeds can play and there's something about, I'm not saying that, but maybe getting carried away with them being top. So I don't see how they finished that high.
I think,
to be honest,
I genuinely think if City had a striker on the pitch, game would have been a different story. De Bruyne's at the post earlier. I tell you what I do like at Leeds, I really like their keeper. He looks about 12 years old, but his footwork, his ability to play the ball, he's a left pegger. It's unbelievable. I watched him do like a drag back V move and then chip it over someone. I was like, to have some bottle, and he had Sterling running in on him to close him down. But I'm not saying I'm turning to Leeds yet. Definitely not. I think we're very early on in the season, but it will be interesting.
But one of our listeners has got in contact about Leeds because he's took, I don't know, a little exception to my. I don't think I'm being critical of him. I just said, do not get carried away. Well, George Hodgson, who's a Cardiff fan, is George. He's seen a lot of Championship football, so we had a rumour that he wanted to come on, or wasn't it? Or,
yeah, I'd argue if you're watching Cardiff, you're watching any type of football.
Yeah, no. Bluebirds. Pascal will be upset with you.
Yeah, sorry Pascal.
Yeah, anyway, so I got hold of George and I asked him why he was all in favour of Leeds United, and in particular about, so this is what he had to say.
So I was asked the question, why are Leeds United so good? How they'll get on in the Premier League, where they'll finish, and also why they're receiving so many plaudits from the media. Now, I'm not a Leeds fan, but I've watched a lot of Leeds last year in the Championship and also their games this year in the Premier League. And I think, first of all, you've got to start off with Bielsa. This is a guy who Guardiola regards as his idol, who Pochettino says is the best coach in the world. He also comes across as a bit of a nut job at times. He once confronted a fan with a hand grenade and now lives above a sweet shop in Leeds. But the guy is special, and I think you can see now in the Premier League what he does on the training pitch. His teams have got such good fitness levels. They press with such intensity. They play with freedom. They're so brave going forward. And I think that is why they're getting so many plaudits from the media. So many pundits are impressed with what they're doing, and why they'll continue to cause problems for good sides, for the rest of the season. If you go back to the game against Liverpool, and I don't want to ramble on too much about tactics, but very few teams go to Anfield and actually commit that many men forward on a counter-attack and are that brave, to try and go for it against Liverpool. And Leeds did exactly that. I think a lot of people were talking about the goals came from mistakes, and Leeds took them well. But if they hadn't committed so many men forward, they wouldn't have even been able to score or get into those positions. Leeds played a 4-1-4-1. Sounds defensive, but it's actually the opposite. Bielsa empties out midfield, Calvin Phillips sits in front of the back four, and those then 5 players are allowed to go forward with freedom and cause problems and press high up the pitch. And you've seen that's what happened with Liverpool. A lot of the time when teams turn the ball over in Liverpool's half, it's an isolated striker if they're on his own, but all of a sudden Leeds do it and they've got 5 players piling into the box.
So,
Now the flip side to how they play is that if you do beat that press, and this is what we've seen in the Liverpool and the City game, Leeds then look very vulnerable defensively. They actually leave themselves in situations of 4-on-4 and look in trouble. Because of this, they are going to concede quite a lot of goals, and I actually think that Leeds will lose games that you expect them to win on paper. They'll also be on the end probably of a few hidings, but they will cause problems for good sides.
So does he come up with an eventual prediction?
No, I don't think
Does
so.
it?
I don't know. He might have done, but
It's interesting to hear that. I tell you what, I'm more into that Klitsch in the middle of part of the Polish side. He's decent.
if anybody wants a football analyst, George, I've got his number.
Yeah.
He's got all the terminology there.
I can imagine when he was telling us that, he's probably got a clipboard at home and he's moving the little counters. This is this person. And then when they're moving to them.
Empty the midfield. I like that phrase.
Yeah, was it?
But thanks for that, George. But it's interesting, isn't it? Different perceptions. There's no doubt that they're getting some fans, and Bielsa's got some fans. I still wonder about his temperament, I'm going to be honest.
You talk about teams spending a lot of money on defenders or a lot of players. Why have Man United not seen that and gone, let's go and make Leeds an offer and take their manager?
Yeah.
Because
Poch, another one of the Poches. Actually, George said he's not a Leeds fan, he's not a Spurs fan, but loves Pochettino, and he thinks that they're at the same ilk kind of thing. Be interesting, thanks for that, George. But anyway, enough for that.
Right, so we'll
where do you want to go first? Do you want to go to Villa Park?
let's just get it done with. Right, so my overview of the game. We had a really off night. I'm not going to take it away. I thought Villa was superb on the night. They pressed at the right time. We gave away a sloppy ball. Keeper's thrown one in. Gomez has given one away. 3 deflected shots. But not taking anything away from Villa because I thought they played well, and I thought Grealish and Barkley were a handful. When they go forward, they drive into the box. Because they've both got that bit of pace to get away from somebody and they drop the shoulder well, is that people can't make that commitment to tackle. You can see that when the first one comes off Adrian and he plays it to Gomez and it ends up going to Grealish. Gomez can't commit because he's too worried about which side Grealish is going to go. So Grealish holds, looks like he's going to go outside. Gomez kind of commits it, flicks it inside, and Watkins scores. And to be fair, Watkins, lad, there's a player, if you look
and he can finish.
Fancy Premier League, that's going to pick
somebody around the world actually had him and triple captained him. I mean, he must have been on something when he did that. Where does that come from? But he did. I watched some of it. You have a bad day, don't you? People have bad days. I just wonder whether whether Klopp needs to, whether this break's coming at the right time. Is there a bit of arrogance in there? Is there a bit of complacency? Not from him, but from players.
I just think that he's got the system where, and I mentioned this I don't know how many times, is that he wants his back four to push up the pitch quite quickly and quite high. And what teams are working out is that diagonal ball or the ball around the corner behind the centre halves. If we're running that direction, no matter how fast Gomez and Van Dijk are, and they are quick, they're not able to catch somebody that's got a 5-10 yard head start on them, and especially over like a 20-yard race. So I just think that either they've got to go back to how they defended a little bit better last time, which is drop themselves a little bit deeper to keep the ball in front of them to defend, or they've got to make sure that they are so tight that when they push up together, they catch offside. The one with the free kick, they played it around the back, they caught the lads off in the middle, but they went to the guy at the back post, and then the second phase came in, Watkins heads it in.
But no worries, those people think Liverpool win the league still not an issue. I mean, you go from that to where Man United, they're big problems. There are huge problems there.
Yeah.
Albeit, from a Spurs point of view, I thought after the first minute or so, when we conceded a penalty, what a reaction.
30 seconds
What a reaction. And from that point on, I know they went down to 10 men, and before anybody says anything, my opinion is this: either they both go or they both get booked, for me. Lamella didn't deliberately went to him, he's gone to push him in the forearm and it has slipped up the shirt. You can't be out like that. He's made a meal of it. That's the game we're playing. I think they both could have gone. What I would say is that VAR then bottled it, because Bailly should have gone 2 minutes later when he fouls Kane and then drags him. Then he commits about another 5 tackles in the game, doesn't get sent off. Neither does Pogba. He must have committed 8 fouls in the game. And then your man Luke Shaw almost admitted in his post-match interview he should have got sent off. He just hacked it. It was like a petulant kid at school hacked down more. But but Tottenham played well, and I'm really pleasing to see the way we're playing. I'm pleased to see that Mourinho is getting Dembele out. He's getting a system, I think, that Holberg was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
he was fantastic.
My issue with you guys is, are you going to be able to do that week in, week out? Because I think that's going to be the issue, is your consistency. You know, like we see that now, and you go back 2 games, and you didn't look like you could score in a month.
I mean, I must admit, other than the Everton game, the first game of the season, we were woeful, and I said that on here, said that to everybody. We've actually played okay. Like the first Europa League game away wasn't brilliant, but it's about getting the job done. But since those 2 games, we've actually done alright. The Chelsea game in the week, when we did a job on them, his idea was to keep it with that team 0-0, bring Kane after 20 minutes. What went wrong is the debutant made a bit of an error, and Werner actually smashed it in quite nicely. Whether he'd have got away with playing like that with 50,000 Spurs fans in that ground is a different kettle of fish, but he got the job done. So I'm quite positive about that. Spurs were good, Man United were woeful.
Yeah.
It's the attitude, there's no leadership. That Shaw thing at the end, just to me, sums up the lack of leadership on the pitch, off the pitch, because none of the Liverpool players did that.
No. I tell you what was interesting is you talk about leadership. Did you watch the Chelsea game? Jorginho scores the first penalty.
Yes,
goes to get the second penalty, and Tammy goes to get the ball. And the skipper goes over, grabs all the Tammy, says, "Give me the ball. It's not you. Do one over there." Jorginho's the penalty taker. And I thought, as much as it probably annoyed Tammy Abraham, and he wants to score goals, that's what a captain does. Yeah. Captain doesn't go, "This is sorted out before the game," because every team will have these done. We used to do it at Sunday League level.
Yeah.
You know, like the gaffer would go, "Right, who's on penalties today?" Hands go, "Right, both of you on penalties. Who's on first free kick?" "Yeah, right, okay, you take first free kick." And it's all sorted out before you even walk out the change room. So good leadership there from Asmund.
And Lampard actually backed what he almost said word for word what he just said. He doesn't mind Tammy actually wanting to score goals, but that's all sorted. The captain sorts it out, so it's good.
But then on the story of Tammy Abraham and Chilwell, and now Jadon Sancho, is what on earth are they doing? I get the part of it, you know, like you've been invited to a house party, blah blah blah. You want to go and rock up. You can't, as a superstar footballer, turn up to a random house party, break the rules that are in place to protect people, and not expect Dave the douchebag round the corner to be recording you because he knows there's probably £500 in the back pocket.
Just bizarre, just silly, you know, because ultimately they're meant to be, it's a bit like the IPL players here, ultimately they're meant to be at the training ground, at the ground or at home, aren't they, to try and limit the chance of forgetting about the government rules. That's what they're trying to limit the chance of contracting the COVID, so ridiculous. What I'm going to ask you though is, so they're not joined up with the squad yet, and I still think he's out there as to whether they will fully, they're not there for tonight's game. What is the difference between those three, and I'm not talking about the incident because the incidents are all different, but what is the difference between those three who look like they're probably going to be available for selection next week?
They shouldn't be.
Right, well, you've answered my question then.
Because you're going to refer to Foden and
I'm going to go Foden and Green and even Maguire, who were rightly not selected for their incidents. And we know why, because Foden and Greenwood did it because they came out of the hotel bubble, so they weren't allowed back in, and that was FIFA, rightly so. But surely, and they've not been picked for this squad.
Well, they've been double hit now.
Yeah, rightly or wrongly, that we're not getting into that, but what's the difference?
There isn't any difference. So Chilwell, Abraham, Sancho need to be done exactly the same way, sent home, say, sorry boys, not involved in this
Next
squad.
time.
Well, even if Gareth is doing this to Foden and Greenwood as a don't do this, this is how severe it is, you're now missing the next game, he's going to do the same with them three.
Yeah,
you can't then, Sancho's a starting 11, can't then just bend the rules for him, because that just makes a mockery of you as a manager.
I agree. That was my point. I think they're all going to be treated the same, or else there's loophole. Whoever it was, if it was between Harry Kane and Sterling.
Yeah, you have to.
And he chucked Sterling and Gomez out of the game, didn't he, this time last year when they had a bustle on the training field, which is absolutely right. So, a bit disappointing if they get picked next week.
Yeah, you've got to set your standards. Right, okay, FA Cup.
Yeah, so Boston United started, didn't they? Getting the Pilgrims 4-2 at home, but at the North home against AFC Mansfield, good start. Then they started their league campaign on Tuesday evening away at Leamington Spa. Tricky place to go on a Tuesday night. Don't mention Stoke on a Tuesday night.
Leamington
Spa.
Doesn't sound like it'd be a horrible place to go.
Leamington Spa on a Tuesday night is not pleasant by all accounts. 4-0.
Awesome.
So started. Good start.
Good start. Just on that news is one of the local teams from back home from me, Longridge Town, who are in the FA Cup as well. They're doing really well. They just knocked out Stalybridge Celtic away 3-2.
Now it's interesting because I've put survival on our little note things here, because one interesting thing that did come out of Boston United this week is that the chairman admitted that if that government backing scheme for those national league sides hadn't come in, I think they've pledged £10 million over the season to national north and south, that he didn't think that Boston would finish the season.
Wow.
So, and that is arguably, not the wealthiest, but one of the clubs in probably a half decent position with the new ground almost done, fairly successful year last year, etc. So, what you just said about your local side of Stalybridge, do you think because of this and the money in that some of the sides in National League South, National League North and Unibond are a little bit weaker? So there might be a real lower league side get up the FA Cup further, which would be really good, wouldn't it, to see?
Yeah, well, it happens every now and again, doesn't it? That a decent team from like the lower echelons of the pyramid do sneak in, but it's usually one team.
Yeah.
So I think definitely, because if you think about teams like Stalybridge Celtic, who in non-league terms are a decent sized team. So for Longridge, who have only been in the semi-professional division now, this is their third season. So they won the North West Counties Division 1 to the North West Counties Prem. So they're still not even into the Unibond level. And then to knock out a team of that ilk is a big scout. But
I just wonder, with the lack of, I know some investment, but the lack of money, the uncertainty, sides have got rid of players.
But at the same time, you flip that around, is the FA Cup is a nice little earning for some teams.
Yeah, I think in Boston, nearly £4,000.
Yeah, so that's
a lot of money, isn't it?
For Longridge to go through and they're in their third qualifying round now.
So they've got the same amount of money.
Yeah, they'll probably have the same amount of money, and for Longridge that probably runs.
So does that pay for the season almost?
Yeah, pretty
just
much.
About.
Well, the year that we did with Squires Gate and we got into the fourth, we did three non-qualifying rounds. We got beaten the fourth after a replay. we earned the club that much money, it looked after the club, and then it sounds really bad, but we've got brand new tracksuits. And then they put £1,000 in the place kitty.
Did you get a win bonus?
I can't deny or admit to anything here because there's some ex-players still listening. I don't want to upset anybody.
It's a bit like that.
But yeah, it could have been better if Paul Page hadn't missed that one-on-one.
It always goes on about that.
But yeah, so it's good to see some non-league football back. Hopefully we'll see some games. Yeah, and they're doing. I believe that they're doing a lot of online.
Streaming, yeah, you could have streamed Tuesday night.
Nice way to catch up with the games. But I don't know if I've just dreamt this, but I just had like a flashback. I thought I'd read something that Premier League teams had voted on investing money into the lower league systems, and there's something like 3 or 4 teams that have gone against it, and the 3 or 4 teams, and I think 2 of them are potential teams that have just come up from the English Football League, and the other teams that didn't want to give the money were teams that could get relegated this year.
I did see as well that there's talk about the EFL that if the EFL have said, if some clubs go by the wayside, that they're going to under 23 football in the league, it's just ridiculous.
That stems back to that discussion that we had ages ago about what Pep Guardiola was saying about integrating under 23s or having a B team in the league.
Nah.
It's football in England doesn't work like
different.
that. It's each town, it's each village has their own representative, and you go and support your local club.
I just think hopefully we can get back. I know they've voted on, there's a petition out there to get fans back in grounds in the UK, so fingers crossed that happens. And of course, we're unsure, those people are wondering how Al Nasser and Shabab Ali are getting on. It's not started yet.
Well,
You're due to now.
We are, fingers crossed, that tomorrow is supposed to be the prelim of the cup games.
Right.
If that goes ahead, then the first league fixtures will happen next week.
Perfect, and we're going to have some coverage of that, and maybe help out with the coverage here in Dubai as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get Pedro, who does a lot with our Wassel club. He does a lot of the commentary on the TV, so we had a chat with Pedro, didn't we? And hopefully, if the games go ahead this weekend, we'll get Pedro on next week, and he can tell us all about preview. But he's not a fan of you because our Wassel's biggest rivals are Al Nassr.
He soon jumped on that, by the way.
He was all over you, wasn't he? What team you spotted? Right, that's him.
Well, I don't like him anymore.
So he didn't talk to Jack throughout the conversation we
Fair
had.
enough.
But moving swiftly on, one of the boys today said to me, "Have you been watching the IPL, sir?" I was like, "No, I haven't."
I have been watching.
I did tell him about my Kings team. I was like, I was at a hotel and the Kings were there, and he's like, "All right." And then he was telling me, "Is there a team called DC?"
Dubai Capitals, yeah.
He said they are looking really strong.
Yeah, they look decent. They're top of the league. Quite a young team actually.
So I'm changed. I'm DC now.
Oh,
Thanks, Jimbo.
It was Everton, but now it's Liverpool. But yeah, so our 2 teams are doing very well. Kings 11 are bottom at the moment, and my team, Radisson Royals, are second bottom and won 3 games.
At least we're consistent.
So yeah, but Ben Stokes is back or in Dubai. He's been down to, obviously left England before the season ended because his dad is really, really poorly in New Zealand, so he's been down to New Zealand. He's returned to cricket with his dad's blessing, his family's blessing. He's here in Dubai, isolated at the moment, but will, I think, make his return to the Radisson Royals over the weekend or their next game anyway, and he'll make a massive difference because he's arguably the best player in the world at the moment across all 3 disciplines and fitness-wise, and that's good. So I'm hoping, come on Ben, get him going again.
I need to get Gail out on my team. Come on, get Gail on. Just send him around just to beat everybody else up.
Yeah, he's a big fella, isn't he? And we went out for dinner, date night on, what night was it? I can't remember. Tuesday?
Not me.
No, not me, it's Stu.
Looking at me like I went on date with you.
It's that yellow.
Yeah.
Went on date night and Mrs. Should we try the eloquent elephant at the Taj?
Because you know there's a cricket team there.
Well, we can do. We can go there if you like. Anyway, we get there, lovely meal. There's 375-inch screens around showing the IPL. We get sat right next to one, and of course it is where the Chennai Super Kings are staying. Didn't see anything, but as you go into the Taj at the bottom of the hotel, it's all roped off. They've got their own private lift. The buses were sat outside, and it's got welcome to the den everywhere. Nice. So obviously they are obeying by what they're saying, and they've got in these hotels here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they've got their own segregated areas and literally a hotel to bus to training ground and to the games. So, but yeah, so we'll do some spotting though. Once IPL are out, we'll go to look for Chris Gale.
Okay.
He can compare biceps.
Yeah. His biceps probably bigger than my head.
He's a big fella.
Probably crack my skull open like a nutcracker. Right, NBA. We're gonna honour this segment for Paul Walker. Paul Walker and Kobe, obviously.
Yeah.
So Lakers are only one win away from winning the championship, the World Series.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's not the World Series.
Yeah. But the NBA title, it's been a long period for them in isolation because they've been in there since, I don't actually know how long, but certainly since the football started back, I think.
Yeah.
They've all been in Disneyland, haven't they, in Florida. But by all accounts though, as teams have been knocked out, more of the teams who were there, the families have been allowed in.
Alright.
I think so. Like now, there's obviously only 2 teams. There's been only 2 teams for 2 weeks or whatever. I think families are in there now as well, where possible. So, but obviously Lakers, there will be Heat 102 to 96 last night or Wednesday night, as it will be when this goes out. I didn't realise that it looks like they'll win it. I think that it's the first title. Would be the first title in 10 years. It was on the last one was obviously captained by Kobe Bryant. So I think sometimes things are written in the stars, aren't they?
Yeah. It'd be nice. It'd be nice for that to happen for memories.
I've got a feeling. I don't think LeBron James will let that slip now, will he?
No, he's
He'll pull
too
them all
good.
along.
But according to Paul was saying to us that Miami Heat have lost 2 or 3 of their starting 5 through injury. So he was actually going for a whitewash. But we thought that if it hadn't been a whitewash, he would have won by now. So
yeah, so it's
I think it might was it 3-1 on it?
3-1. I think that makes it. So it's because 7-match series, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, there must have been 3. That must have been 3-1 on Wednesday night. So yeah, well done the Lakers. And like I say, it was it'll be a nice way for them to round off what's been a pretty dismal year for them.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
Fantasy League winner.
This is
Is this your team? Or is that the winning team?
This is not my team.
Oh dear.
I don't know what's going on. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's just give up. How can my team?
I mean, it must be Jose did me because I took Sonny out because he said he was going to be injured. I did replace him with James Rodriguez though, so I didn't necessarily miss out. But I just like having Tottenham players in the team.
Okay.
You're 91st.
Why are you shouting that
I've
out?
just seen that on the screen.
I don't know what you're about. I was going to start at the bottom. We had more people adding. We've got 114 in there. I think we had 111. So
You kept that quiet.
Yeah, we're just leaving that quiet. So at the bottom in 114th is Shaq FC. There's a big mover and shaker. Henry Grant has moved off the bottom.
Well,
He's now 113.
technically, he hasn't. He's gone down because we only had 111 last week, and
Right.
he was 111th.
Yeah, so Henry, thankfully, Shaq FC's turned up and bailed you out.
He
a
did
little
get
bit.
60 points this week, though.
He's done alright there with 60 points, better than I've done. Matt Thomas's missus on the move, she's on 103rd. I'm basically a bit like I was going to say a certain submarine then, but I wasn't sure if we have any Russian fans out there, so I'll leave that one be. But yeah, 91st at the moment.
I think you need to go a bit higher to find me if that's what you're looking for, mate.
I've just completely lost the screen. Right, so shall we? Where are you?
Keep going. Keep going.
All right, okay, right. So let's go through the top 10 then.
Okay.
Did you make the top 10?
Of course I did, though.
Oh, you did. Right, okay. So in 10th place, Gwyn Williams, oh fluffy sheep. Nice.
Oh, wonderful.
In 9th place, Ian Jaffrey. I'm not even going to say 8th place his name either. Andrew Exton in 8th. Big Lefty's Finest is in 7th. 9 points.
Yeah, so that.
Paul Comer, who still hasn't claimed his prize, is in 6th place. Dan Barron, Show Me Damani, I like that, is in 5th place, moving up. Jack Brown being consistent up there.
Yeah.
Boom Shakalaka is in 4th. Mike Keevy in Scoops FC is in 3rd. From nowhere, Wales Golf Madrid, great name, by Pascal, our Welsh friend. And top of the league at the moment is Jim Derby with Derby County.
Very good.
But the interesting one, and the one we all want to know about, is who has got the most points of the week. So, good news and bad news. Tottenham Hotspur was in 3rd place with 85 points. That is a great score, by the way. But then we had a tie for 1st place with 2 people scoring 90 points. So myself and Jack decided beforehand that we would go based upon the captain that scores the most points would be the tiebreaker.
And then if that's level, we're going to go with
bench boost.
The bench, as
We
if
don't
you
imagine-
played a bench boost,
yeah.
but
So Lewis Miller ended up with 90 points, and his captain was Salah with 26. Okay, both getting 90 points, and Lee Bennett, Dyslexia United, had Callum
Wilson as
with
the captain.
32 points. So Lee Bennett, you are this week's.
He must be a Newcastle fan. Look at his team now. He's put Callum Wilson as captain when he's got Ings, Kane, Rodriguez, De Bruyne and Fernandes. So
Yeah.
he must be a Newcastle fan.
So let's just go through. Well, look at that. Pickford 1 point for him. Alexander-Arnold -1. Walker Peters 5. Sass, this guy's appeared a few times.
That's Larkins.
Yeah. Lewis in at the back line got him 1
His
point.
front six are unbelievable.
De Bruyne 2 points. Rodriguez 18. Fernandes 6. Kane 16. Ings 2. Callum Wilson 32.
He's got nobody on the bench.
So points for this week goes to, for the winner this week is Dyslexia United, and that is Lee Bennett. So get in contact, please, Lee, and we will sort you out your
collect the
voucher.
vouchers, because we have the vouchers now.
We have the
Radisson
vouchers.
have delivered all the prizes, which is brilliant, and our thanks, obviously, to
Stuart Birch
Stuart, yeah.
and the guys over at Rally Red, and doing a marvellous job over there. So
absolutely right.
get yourselves in there, but yeah, make sure you come and claim your prizes. Remember, you need to claim them. We're not going to come and find you.
Yeah.
Um,
Because we don't
right.
know how often you are, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, we've had a few requests on some people that aren't quite sure about what these boosts are and things along those lines. So we're just going to quickly tell you about the 3 different boosts you can use. Okay, so the 3 different boosts you can use, I'm just going to click on my screen here, are bench boost, which basically means that everybody that's currently sat on your bench will then get added your points in automatically. Okay, so you're 11 selected, and everybody on the bench, if they get a total of 12 points, that'll get added to your total. So it's worth playing when you know all players are playing. Triple captain is exactly what it says in the tin, 3 times the value of the person's original score. Free hit, this is a little bit slightly different. So if you come up to a cup week where the majority of your players don't have a league game, and there are, let's just imagine, Southampton, Leeds, Everton and whatever team are playing in the league games, you can take a free hit. So for that 1 week, you can change your full squad around for that 1 week, and then it automatically reverts back to your original squad. So you basically get a free week of whatever players you want to put in, but then it goes back to the squad that you originally had in place. And the only other one is the wild card. I think there's 2 wild cards.
Yeah,
one that happens before Christmas,
Yeah.
one that happens afterwards. So wild card means that you can make as many transfers as transfers as you want, and it doesn't cost you a single point. If you normally, on a normal week, you get 1 free transfer. If you don't use that transfer, you get 2 free transfers the week after, but it maxes at that. So you can't wait 3 weeks and make 3 transfers, it stays at 2. But if you wanted to change your full team around, make 10 transfers, use your free hit, doesn't cost you any points.
That's just for you, Shrek, because he keeps asking me and he can't work it out.
Well, he's probably still struggling, he's still probably got more points than me.
Yeah, I mean, he's not 91st.
Please tell me, how is that team?
Well, I think looking at it, you've got a couple of not playing. De Bruyne's not really pulled up any things yet.
Traore's
Traore's
on the
done a lot.
bench last game.
And your two Liverpool men haven't done. Alexander-Arnold particularly is not. You've picked the wrong fullback, so I'm sure if you had Robertson instead, he's probably got more points. But look, it's a marathon, not a sprint, Stuart.
Well, that's what Henry said, didn't he, the other day when I was giving you a
but-
I tell you what is strange is I'm sat here going, as soon as I change this team, they're going to start scoring points. So now I'm at that point of
You took
pride
him in
before a fall.
Well, I'll give you some credit. You put Bruce in as a bit of a left wing thing, and that's going to help you, isn't it? Because he's going to play.
Yes.
Whether you'll get any chances from Sheffield United is, well, we'll wait and see. Right, about done. Weekend, is your football started yet? Like officially, it's the longest pre-season ever you've had.
Yeah, it's just 5 sides, Bill. I think next week we're allowed to play 7 sides, that's good news. But Harry's got his first match tonight in a couple of hours. So Harry's got his first match. He's got Deb Bazali's got a game tonight, a game for the under-15s on Saturday, and then he's been drafted into the under-16s on Saturday as well. So he's got 2 games then.
Are we allowed to watch or not?
No, still, that's the strange thing is I'm just basically a glorified taxi. Take him there, wait around an hour, then bring him back. But it's good that he's get back in playing, so looking forward to that. So I'm hoping then that 7-a-side leagues are running around the country. But I think pivotal is going to be what
The Arab
happens
game.
to the Arab League. If the Arabian Gulf League starts this weekend and then we get league fixtures next weekend, then I think we're only like 2 or 3 weeks away.
And saying about cricket, because I think we're playing, done a pre-season tournament, we had a first league game last week, won from one.
How many score?
I'll bet 40. I've not very buzz.
About 40.
It was like 30.
What was the one where you only scored 3 the other week?
Just keep harping on about it. We've got another game this week anyway, Saturday morning. But I think like you, they can't really stop us from playing when they've got IPL playing around the corner. But it's really good. It was hot last week, mine playing, really hot. But yeah, so
I could be hot stood in a field doing nothing.
Oh dear. Right, I think it sums it up. We need to go because at the end of the day, Stu.
What do we know?